This week we are going to continue with the orthographic projection of objects, and also we will start doing this plan and section of these systems. Let's start with our 13th exercise. In the exercise, we need to continue with one of our previous exercises, exercise 7. We are going to use the same object set, but this time we are required to draw the plan and two sections of these objects. First of all, we can prepare our working area by fixing our exercise 7 drawing on the table. And in order to do this 13th exercise, we can use one A4 sketching paper so that we will be able to see what's beneath this paper as our 7th exercise, and we can use our previous drawing as the guidance. So it will be easier for us, and we need to fix this A4 sketch paper over our exercise 7. And after that, we can start drawing with our usual tools, T-square, set-square, and other things. First of all, there are some lengths here, as you can see. For the plan, it says the level is 4.3 centimeters. We need to know what the plan means. And after that, we are going to see the terms as sections, and we need to understand the logic behind these applications. When we say plan, it means that we are cutting an object by using a horizontal plane. This red plane that you see on screen right now, imagine that this red plane is cutting this object horizontally, but the level is important. And in the question, as you can remember, it says that the level of this plane, this horizontal cutting plane, is 4.3 centimeters. Because as you can see, if the level of this red plane changes, the objects that it cuts will change. Let's say that it is a little bit higher, like 8 centimeters, then it will be cutting no objects at all. And let's say that it's a little bit lower, let's say it's 2 centimeters high, then again, it will be cutting nothing. So the level is important here. According to the position of this red horizontal plane, some objects will be cut in half horizontally, and some will not. So in the question, it says 4.3 centimeters. When we place this horizontal cutting plane, it intersects with the rectangular prism here, and it cuts the prism in half so that we can see what's inside now. And here you remember from our previous exercise, the exercise 7, this was an empty box with 2 millimeter thick sides on each side. So these 2 millimeter thick sides of the box are being cut. However, nothing else is cut because of the position of the plan there. And as you can see, we are now being able to see the blue cube inside this prism. And we can see its bottom surface. And once we cut it, we need to elevate the upper part because now we are supposed to go between them and look down. And if you want to draw a plan, this is what we are supposed to do. First, we need to cut it horizontally, and then we are going to go inside between these cut objects and look down and draw what we see. Let's do this together. Let's start with the closest surfaces to us. And here you can see our sketch paper. It's now a little bit blurred because of the texture of the paper, but you are still able to see what's beneath that paper. Now we can use this in order to draw our plan. And these surfaces, these cut 2mm thick surfaces are the closest to us because of our position. We are looking down. The first thing that we are going to see are these surfaces, 2mm thick surfaces and their edges. So let's start drawing them. And we can copy. We don't need to measure the length and the interval and the distance and other lengths here. We can just copy it by using our 7th exercise. We need to copy the outer edge of this prism and inner edge of this prism. But this time we need to use a different line weight because they are the cut surfaces. So this is what we are going to do now. As you can remember, we have different line types and different line weights. Since now we use the continuous and the dashed lines, if we want to create guiding lines, we prefer this thin and gray ones. And if we want to draw something that we can see, we prefer this middle thickness, middle darkness lines. Now it is time to use the thickest and the most black line weight to indicate the cut surfaces, the edges of the cut surfaces. We need to use the continuous lines with this, the thickest and the most black line weight here. And we need to create the edges of these cut surfaces, the outer edge and the inner edge. And we can use the exercise 7 as the guidance here. And once we finish drawing the cut surfaces, we need to check, is there anything left as the objects that have been cut? Are there any objects that have been cut? No, there are not. So we can start now drawing the things, the objects that we can see from the upper point of view, the top views. And here, after this cut surfaces, the closest object, the closest surface to us is this, the upper surface of this blue box, the blue cube. So we can draw it again by using the exercise 7 dashed lines. However, this time we are seeing the object itself. So we need to use the continuous line, not the dashed lines, but in order to indicate that is something that we see, that is not something that has been cut by the plane. Instead, we are seeing its upper surface. We need to use this middle thickness, middle darkness line type to create the edges, the frame, the outer edges of this top surface of the blue box. And after that, we can move on. There is the bottom surface of this rectangular prism with the lines here. We can draw them. They are the objects that we see. Again, they are not cut. So we need to use the same middle thickness, middle darkness, and continuous lines in order to create the lines in the bottom surface, on the bottom surface of the prism. However, we can indicate that there is a level difference between the upper surface of this blue cube and the bottom surface of the prism. by leaving these tiny gaps between the cut surface here. The level is higher than the bottom surface of the prism. So I need to leave tiny gaps between the cut lines and the uh, viewing objects, the objects that I see. And again, there is another level difference between the top surface of this blue cube and the bottom surface of the uh, rectangular prism. So I am again leaving the same amount of gaps between this uh, the square that I draw here and the lines. And this gap should be very minimum, just for the tip of the pencil. Your pencil will be enough uh, for that. And after that, I need to draw the last object that I see. That is this square horizontal plane with profile projecting lines on it. Again, I can use my seventh exercise to copy them because these are the things that I have already seen and now I am seeing as well. So I can just copy this square surface with the profile projecting lines, but again, I need to leave these gaps to indicate that there is level difference between this cut surface and the upper surface of this horizontal plane here. These are the four edges of the plane. Since the interval and the distance are zero, they are intersecting with the horizontal vertical projection plane and the profile projection plane. However, there is this line there, the line of this, the edges of the square horizontal plane there. And now it has been completed. I just need to check one more time. Are there any lines? Are there any objects that I left behind that I missed drawing, either cut or seen? No, I start drawing the cut surfaces here with the thickest and the darkest lines. And then I start the objects that I see. The closest one was the top of this cube here, and then the bottom of the rectangular prism, and last, the lowest object was this square horizontal plane with profile projecting lines over it. So I can start coloring, and I need to do a hatch here. I can use a blue color to indicate the upper surface of the cube, and I can use a hatch with 45 degree inclined lines that are very close to each other. I can use like 0.5 millimeters for their gaps between them, and I can create these lines by using my set square, the 45 degree set square here, and I can use a little thin lines, but they are still black. And this hatch is done just to indicate that this surface was cut for the plan. When I wanted to create the plan, I cut this surface. That's why I am using the thickest line weight, and I am doing the hatch on the cut surface to indicate, to effectuate it, to create a bigger effect there. And please be careful about your drawing. I need to repeat that once you finished your drawing, your lines shouldn't be blocked by your drawing. And once we finish the plan here, we can move to the sections. They are actually the same. When we draw the plan, we use a horizontal plane to cut the objects. And when we are talking about the sections, we use the same plane, but this time it's not horizontal. It is either vertical or it is parallel to profile projection plane. So since we finished this, we can start our first section, and we are going to use a vertical plane to cut the objects one more time. And the interval for this plane is 4.5 centimeters. So I need to measure a 4.5 centimeters to position the cutting plane in order to find out which objects are being cut and which objects are not being cut here, since as you can understand easily, because of the position of this plane, only our prism and this horizontal plane, they are being cut. However, this section plane does not cut the blue cube here. So first we can start by indicating the position of this cutting plane here on our plan, and imagine that we are looking at this system from above, and we cannot be able to see the actual cutting plane, the red plane. We just recognize its edge here, the upper edge here. So this is what I am drawing here. I am drawing a line that is 4.5 centimeter away from vertical projection plane here. And just to indicate that this is a cutting plane, a cutting surface, I am going to use a new line type. Here, this one I should use. If you see something like this, a dashed line with points placed at the gaps, and they all should be as equal as you can with your eye, without measuring it with a ruler. Just trust your eye. You need to do a dashed line, a gap, and there should be a point between these dashed lines. So a line, a gap, a point, a gap, a line, a gap, a point, a gap, and it goes like this. And you need to use again, the thickest and the most black line weight that you can create with your 2mm pencil. Maybe you can use a 2B or a 3B lead here. And once we cut the object, we need to separate them, and we need to go between them, enter the system here. We need to locate ourselves between these cut objects and look either this way or this way. It depends on my position. If I am standing like this, it means that I am looking at this way, at this direction, and I am seeing these things. However, I could do the reverse, and I could look at this direction. So this is another thing that I need to indicate over my plan. So I use tiny triangles to indicate at which direction we are looking at. This line here indicates the position of the cutting plane, and these little triangles, they indicate the direction that we are looking at, so that people can understand. In order to take the section or have a section, I used a vertical cutting plane here, positioned here, and I looked at this direction, not to this direction, at this direction, and I need to start again by the cut surfaces. And this is my first surface that I cut, this square horizontal plane, and it is here. It's the intersection, as you can see easily, the intersection of the cutting vertical surface and horizontal square plane here. So I need to transfer this width up to V, vertical projection plane here. And again, I need to repeat that you can just copy from your previous drawing. It'll be easier for you. And in order to transfer the distance, the width, I need to use, again, continuous lines with the thinnest and the grayest line that I can create. Barely visible lines, because I am just creating a guidance for myself to transfer this width up here, and I need to copy the 3 centimeter level of this horizontal plane there. And since the plane is being cut, again, I need to use the thickest and the most black line weight that I can create with my continuous lines. And so that people can be able to understand that this plane is being cut vertically. And after that, I need to check if there is anything cut here in the object, and I see that the prism is being cut. So I need to draw this, and here it's this surface, the intersection of the vertical cutting line and the prism here. So I need to transfer these with 2 millimeter thicknesses up here with, again, thin and gray lines as my guiding lines. And then I can draw the cut surface to indicate the edges of the cut surface, again, with the thickest and the most black lines that I can create. The same line weight that I used in order to create the plan here. They are the same. Either this object is being cut horizontally or vertically, it doesn't matter. I need to use the same line weight for every cut surfaces. And once I create these lines, I am finished with the cut surfaces. Now I can start the objects that I see. And this blue cube is its vertical surface. I can see it, and it's this surface here. As you can see, it's not being cut because it is not intersecting with this vertical cutting plane. There is an interval difference between them. So I need to transfer this distance, this width here up there, and I need to use my middle thickness, middle darkness lines by leaving tiny gaps, because there is an interval difference between these cut surfaces, the edges of the cut surface, and the edges of the blue cube. So I need to leave these gaps. They are tiny gaps. And I am indicating that this object is something that I see by using this middle thickness, middle darkness lines. And I need to check if there is anything else that I am seeing there. I can see the back surface of the prism, and it is here, this surface here. And I don't need to do anything because it's a blank surface. It's just a white surface. So I just leave it like this. I don't need to do anything. And once I finish drawing, I can start coloring. I need to use the same color to indicate the blue cube. And again, I want to effectuate this cut surface. So I am using the same hatch that I used for plan by leaving the same gaps. And again, it's a 45-degree inclined lines. Here I used as the hatch. And please do not forget that if you are leaving a gap for your drawing, then you need to leave the same gap with your coloring as well. Well, it needs to be a very tiny, very little gap, just to indicate that there is an interval difference between those objects. And that's all for my second section. Now I can move on. I can put the object back together, combine the cut parts so that I will be able to cut it one more time. This time, I finished finished my first section. I can start my second section here. And it says that the distance for second section is 2.4 centimeter. It is again a vertically positioned section, but this time it is parallel to profile projection plane. And there is this distance between this profile projection plane and our cutting surface here, and it is 2.4 centimeters. So I need to position my plane here, and I can again indicate this cutting section plane over my plan and over my first section by using the same lines here. But this time I need to look at this direction here, not over there. This is not the direction that I choose for my second section. So I am placing these little arrows to indicate that I am looking towards profile projection plane here. Again, please do not forget, I am using 3 line weights and in order to indicate that something is being cut, I prefer the thickest line that I can create and the most black one. I use this line weight to draw the edges of the cut surfaces and by continuous lines, and with this line type here, a dashed line with points in between, I am indicating the positions of the cutting planes, cutting surfaces here. As you can see, I am not cutting the blue cube because of this distance here. And now I can since there are because there are 2 sections here, I can give them a name by using letters or numbers if I want. Let's say our first section is our AA section, so that we can name this new one as BB section here. I need to separate the objects, step inside and look at this direction and start drawing what I see. Let's start with the cut surfaces here. Again, I am cutting this plane here, and it is this plane here, and it is just a point here since I cannot see it as a plane. I can see it as a line, and it's just a point here, the intersection of this line with the intersection of this line. They are actually 2 planes, intersecting planes. And here it appears as a line. However, I know that it is, and it appears as a point here. However, I know that it is a line. So I need to transfer this level up to the left side over the profile projection plane, and I need to transfer this width here by using my compass again, so that I won't be needing any measurements here. And again, by using the thickest line, I can create my cut plane here. And after that, there is this prism. Again, it's being cut, and it's here, this one here. And again, I can see the same cut surface on my first section here. So this is what I need to transfer. I need to transfer this 2 millimeter thickness, the upper side of the prism, and the bottom side of the prism by using my first section here. I am transferring the levels here. And after that, I need to transfer the front side of my prism here one by one. It's just this 2 mm thickness I am transferring, and the back side here, again, just the 2 mm thickness by using my thinnest and grayest lines, so that I have all the guidance that I need. Now I can start drawing the section by using my thickest and the darkest lines here. And I need to check, is there anything that I missed? No, and so I can move on to the surfaces or objects that I see, and there is only this surface here, this white surface, so there is nothing that I can do to draw it, and its position here, the same surface. I can just leave it like that because it's just a white surface, so the white area here will indicate that surface. And that's all, that there is nothing else left. However, there is this blue cube behind me. As you can remember from our previous exercise, if there is an object that is being blocked by another object so that I am not able to see it, I use dashed lines to indicate that object, that I cannot see it. So I can do the same here. Since it is at my back, I am not seeing it. However, I want to indicate it. So I can use the same technique, same drawing technique to indicate this blue cube, and it is being behind me. So I need to transfer its level and its width up here, so that I will have the guiding lines. And by using middle thickness, middle darkness with dashed lines, I can indicate that there is something behind me this time, but I do not need to leave gaps here. I just connect two lines. I don't need to do the coloring. If I'm not seeing the object itself, I do not do the coloring. I just indicate it with dashed lines, and that will be all. We shouldn't color it, but we can again effectuate the cut surfaces here with our hatch. I need to use the same hatch here. Please do not forget, no coloring, no gaps here, because this is something behind me. This is something that I cannot see actually. And that will be all. Just to indicate this first section here, I can put the section line on this drawing here. It will be easier for people to understand. And it was my first section. I can just transfer this, its interval up here, and put this line here and indicate the direction here. And as you can remember, I started with a plan, and it was again a section, an horizontal section. So I can do this as well. I can put this line here, and I look down, so I can put the little triangles positioned like this, indicating the view angle here. And since there is just one plan, I don't need to give it a name. If or two plans, I could use plan 1, plan 2, numbers this time, just to indicate that they are plans, and that will be all. This is all I need to do, and there's just this thing that I left. I need to write that this is a plan. Beneath it, I need to write this is This is section AA, and this last one here is section BB. This is all.